He's commander-in-chief, directing the U.S. military in 6 wars, all in Muslim countries. He sends Predator drones to rain hellfire on the hills of Pakistan and the highways of Yemen alike, decimating the ranks of al-Qaeda leaders. He committed U.S. forces and technology to bring down the dictator Muammar Gaddafi, and he gave the order to take out Osama bin Laden. I'm PJTV's Scott Ott, joined now by Bill Whittle and Stephen Green. Men, I want to introduce you to the Barack Obama many of us have never met. Barack Obama, the warrior, the CNC willing to fight evil almost anywhere it rears its ugly head. So says Peter Bergen in the New York Times this week. And in case you doubt him, listen to the man himself.
I face the world as it is and cannot stand idle in the face of threats to the American people. For make no mistake, evil does exist in the world. A nonviolent movement could not have halted Hitler's armies. Negotiations cannot convince al-Qaeda's leaders to lay down their arms. To say that force may sometimes be necessary is not a call to cynicism, it is a recognition of history, the imperfections of man, and the limits of reason.
Now, Bill, that was Obama in 2009, not speaking at the Pentagon or to red meat neocons in the heartland. He was lecturing the Nobel Committee when they gave him his Peace Prize. Ain't that some swagger?
Well, when he was referring to the imperfections of man, he was talking about other people, obviously. Look, I want to be really crystal clear about this. President Obama has done, I think, an exceptionally good job of decapitating al-Qaeda in terms of a series of precision surgical strikes launched by drone targets in Pakistan and elsewhere. I don't think there's any question about that. He has been aggressive in going after those people. He deserves credit for that. The thing that makes us insane about this man is that it's always the double standard. It's always the fact that all of the things that he has achieved militarily, not only were not independent of the campaign that he ran and the rhetoric that he used and continues to use, but in fact were based on it. He takes victory lap after victory lap for having killed Osama bin Laden, when in fact he campaigned against the techniques that got us the location of Osama bin Laden and allowed him to take the victory lap. He campaigned against this kind of aggressive American military intrusion into other people's countries and so on. And he refuses to be able to share credit for the things that he's actually doing pretty well. So I think that's the thing that really makes us nuts about this stuff. And I don't think you politicize the work of things like SEAL Team 6 by saying, I don't know if our opponent would have taken the shot. Of course he would have taken the shot. This is your job, Mr. President. Your job is to kill terrorists. Now spend less money. See how that gets you.
Well, Stephen, under this commander-in-chief, a Predator drone takes a shot at a terrorist on average once every 4 days, about 10 times more often than under George W. Bush. When it comes to the war on terror, he's getting the job done, isn't he?
Yeah, you know, I love that. He's great at this small picture stuff, the taking al-Qaeda leaders out. Although I should mention that, you know, 8-9 years ago, Bill Maher said our soldiers weren't as brave as al-Qaeda because we just push buttons. Well, this is the president who just pushes buttons, but we don't hear any of that from Maher. But look, there's also a big picture. The big picture is the Islamic world's, particularly the Arabs' world's, failure to deal with modernity and the outrage and the violence that it nurtures. And on that big picture, well, his half-hearted surge almost ensures that the Taliban looks like the strong horse and will take control of Afghanistan after we leave. Libya and Egypt are going to the Islamists after we threw Mubarak under the bus. So on the big picture stuff, I think he's made the world a more dangerous place. But this is going to take years to play out. We don't know yet.
Well, Bill, of course, the main problem with this idea of Obama the warrior, as Peter Bergen calls him, isn't you and your fellow hawks laughing at him. It's the left-wing doves recoiling in horror, betrayed by a fellow peace train traveler. How do you assess the risk of some of those folks staying home on Election Day or even voting for Romney?
I'm going to do everything within my power between now and Election Day to remind them about this conflict between what the president says and what the president does. And look, Scotty, we've talked about this before. This is the essence of modern liberalism, right? You lie to the American people because you know that as a liberal, you're outnumbered 2-1 by conservatives, and most moderates tend to lean a little bit to the right. So if you're going to be the most liberal senator in the Senate and you're going to run to become president and become the most liberal president in the history of this country, then you have to do things like tell people how tough you're going to be militarily. You say you're in favor of a ban against gay marriage, and you say all these other things. And the left understands that this is kind of a wink, you know. It's a subtle wink I was giving you there. It's a wink to the elites saying, we're saying all this crap so that those knuckle-dragging rubes out there will be lulled into a sense of complacency, and once I become president, that I'll just do all this stuff we all know that I'm going to do. Well, he's not delivering on this. And certainly his enthusiasm is down among Jewish Americans, it's down among the youth, it's down somewhat among blacks, although not very much. So the question is it going to be enough to keep them suppressed? And the bigger question, folks, is, are conservatives going to come out in our numbers? Because if we come out, we win every election there is, period.
Well, Stephen, a new Obama campaign ad suggests, as we said, that Romney would not have pulled the trigger on the bin Laden mission. Did the Democrats just pull off a historic narrative switch, painting the Republican as weaker on defense?
No. Well, maybe they did for a 24-hour news cycle or maybe even a couple of days, but it's already turning against them. Look, progressives repeat their own lies that eventually they come to believe them. And the trap they fell into on this one was the George Bush mission accomplished banner on that aircraft carrier. I think it was the Kitty Hawk, but I'm not sure. They said, oh, Bush was taking a victory lap. Bush took a victory lap. Mission accomplished. It wasn't accomplished. So it wasn't true. That banner, as Bill has said before, was for the men and women on that ship who were coming home from the Gulf. Well, now they are taking their victory laps because, oh, George Bush did it. Well, they've taken so many laps now, they've spiked the football so many times that the SEALs have come out and said, stop politicizing this issue. Stop it. And the American people know. This one is, well, just like all their other gambits over the last few weeks, the war on women and all the rest, it's going to turn around and bite up right on the bottom. And it's so much fun to watch.
Well, the Obama campaign just released a video exalting the president's gutsy call to kill bin Laden. But imagine if he had marked the anniversary with a message more like this. It's been a year since tenacity rappelled onto Osama bin Laden's rooftop. Courage kicked down his door, and devotion to freedom delivered a blow that struck down an evil man. The operation was not carried out in the Situation Room by those of high rank and high office. We were spectators. The great deed was done by men carved from granite, men called chief and petty officer and daddy and sweetheart and son, whose names tumble from the lips of women and children kneeling bedside with open Bible and tear-stained cheek, men of strong arm, sharp mind, and steady hand. Cloaked in dust and sweat, they press on through fear and darkness to bring peace and light. They bind themselves to honor and sacrifice so we can live unshackled. Remember them this day, my fellow Americans. Tell their story to your children, and tonight on your knees, give thanks to God for sending them here at a time such as this. For Bill Whittle, Stephen Green, and the entire Trifecta crew at pjtv.com, I'm Scott Ott.